Hello Year 8. In this first video today, I'm going to go through the answers to the homework that you did from last week. Okay, so we did question 1, 2 and 3 in last week's video, so I'm going to start at question number 4. The first organism in a food chain or web is called a producer. Where does a producer get its energy from? It gets its energy from sunlight. Okay, so you remember that the producer is any plant. So here you can see the acacia tree. That turns sunlight into a food source. It turns it into glucose, and then that gets passed on because these guys can't make their own food. Arrange the following organisms into a food chain. Okay, so we start with the producer, which is lettuce. And then remember the arrow is showing the direction of transfer of energy. So the lettuce gets eaten by a caterpillar, and the caterpillar gets eaten by a hedgehog. And that's a genuine food chain that will happen, you know, in your garden or anywhere like that. All right. So A, name the producer. The producer is lettuce, obviously. What do the arrows in the food chain represent? They represent the transfer of energy. Now, some of you, for that one, you know, you might have put something like, it shows which animal is eating the other animal. All right. Now, while that is true, you know, I can deduce from this that the caterpillar is eating the lettuce. The actual meaning of the arrow is transfer of energy. So it shows that energy that's in the lettuce is being transferred into the caterpillar, and the hedgehog is getting energy from eating the caterpillar. Question number 6. Lions eat cheetahs and leopards, which both eat impalas. Lions also eat giraffes and zebras. Giraffes and impalas both eat the acacia tree. Impalas and zebras both eat grass. In your book, draw a food web to illustrate this information. All right, so this one's a little bit complicated. So I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to try and convert all this information into a food web. All right, I'm going to start down at the bottom here with the producers. So if I look at this, what producers do I have? Well, I've got grass, that's a producer, and I've got the acacia tree, that's a producer. So if I start with those, acacia tree and grass. Now it's okay if you do yours from left to right. I'm going to do mine from bottom to top. Either way is fine. Okay. Now I can see that giraffes and impalas eat the acacia tree, so I need to have giraffes and impalas over here. And impalas and zebras eat grass. I need to have impalas and zebras eat grass. Now I can see that impalas are going to eat both the grass and the acacia tree. So I'm going to put the impala in the middle. Okay. And then I can have that going up there and that going up there. So I've done grass, I've done the acacia tree, I've done my impalas. Now a zebra also eats grass, so I can put my zebra over here. And my giraffes eat the acacia tree, so I can put giraffe over here. Right. Now I've got lions eat giraffes and zebras. Okay, so lions eat giraffes and zebras, so it's going to get a bit complicated. And lions eat cheetahs and leopards, which both eat impalas. Okay, so it's probably better if I do cheetahs and leopards first, and they're going to eat my impala, so I can have cheetah and leopard are both going to be predators for the impala. So that goes my cheetah and my leopard is done, and my impala is done, and I've got lions eat cheetahs, leopards, giraffes and zebras. Okay, so my lion's going to go right up here at the top, and that's going to eat all of these. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so I can have a look. So does anything else eat a giraffe? No. Does anything else eat a zebra? No, doesn't look like it. Okay, so it should look like this. Okay, now have a careful look at that and compare it to one that you've got. Maybe yours, you know, might look a little bit messier. It's okay. If it is a little bit messy, you can draw it out again nice and neat. All right, but that's what it should look like. Okay, so moving on. Hey, where does the producer get its energy from? From the sun. or sunlight. I'll accept either. What is the name of the reaction a producer uses to make energy? That is photosynthesis. Which direction do the arrows in a food chain or web point? Okay, from the organism eaten to the one that eats it. What does the arrow in a food chain or web represent? Transfer of energy. Okay, so you can see where I repeat the questions, I repeat them because it's really, really important you know that information. So if we were in the classroom right now, I'd be asking you all, I'd be jumping around the classroom saying, what does the arrow in a food chain represent? And you should be able to just tell me immediately what that is. Okay, so you need to really practice that information. If you want, you put it on a flashcard and test yourself. All right. What is a food chain? I'm a little bit low on space here. Hopefully you've been all doing this in your book, so you have a bit more space than I do. I'll just do this up here. So E, what is a food chain? That is a diagram showing, now you can do this in two ways, showing the transfer of energy let's just say it's the transfer of energy when organisms eat each other. When organisms eat other organisms. What is the name for an organism that eats both plants and animals? That is an omnivore. We are omnivores. State what is meant by producer. That's an organism which makes its own food through photosynthesis. From the food web you have made, name a producer. Okay, so looking at my food web, my producers are these ones right down here at the start. So I could have the acacia tree, or grass would be fine. From the food web you have made, write out a food chain with 4 organisms. Okay, so what I need to do now is in here, there's lots of different food chains. There's this food chain, there's this food chain, there's this food chain, this food chain, this food chain, and this food chain. One with 4 organisms in it is going to have to be the lion, then one of these 2, then an impala, and then one of these 2. So for example, I could have grass, impala, leopard, lion. Okay. From this food chain, name the carnivore that is also top predator. Okay, so the top predator, or the apex predator, okay, that's this one, top, or apex. Apex means the top of apex predator. So it has to be the lion. Okay, question number 7. Explain how energy is transferred between organisms and to the surroundings as you move along the food chain. Okay, so energy is transferred by eating and to the surroundings generally as loss of heat. Okay, so you right now, your body has, it's eating your Cocoa Pops or it's eating your toast, depending on what time of the day you're doing this at. Maybe it's eating some pasta or some rice. And the energy that was in that food is now being used to keep you warm. So you are now producing heat, and that heat comes from the food that you ate, or the energy in the food that you ate. Give an example of a herbivore. All right, just anything, rabbit or giraffe. Okay, anything that only eats plants, that doesn't eat animals. Give an animal of a carnivore, lion, cheetah, anything like that. Now, question number 10. A little bit of maths. So, approximately 10% of the energy contained in an organism is transferred from one level of the food chain to the next. Use the food chain, answer the questions. All right, so the impala requires 5,000 kilojoules of energy per day. How much grass in terms of energy must the impala eat every day? So this question's a bit of a trick question, okay, because you might be thinking, well, here's 10% and here's 5,000. So a lot of you have written the answer as 50,000 kilojoules per day. Okay, that is not the correct answer. Okay, the impala requires 5,000 kilojoules of energy per day. How much grass must it eat every day? 5,000 kilojoules. Okay, that's how much energy it needs, so that's how much energy it needs to eat. All right, we're just thinking about one animal here. We're not thinking about, you know, if the leopard eats the impala and it needs 5,000, how much energy do the impala need to have eaten? Then it would be 50,000. We're just thinking, if the impala needs 5,000 kilojoules of energy per day, how much grass does it need to eat? Well, 5,000 kilojoules of energy. Just like you. You might need 2,000 calories every day. You don't eat 20,000 calories a day, do you? If you did, then, you know, give it a few weeks and your clothes might not fit you, all right? So, now, if you want to B, now is where we do the maths. So, if 7 kilojoules of energy are transferred to the lion, estimate the energy available in the grass. Okay, so, if we have the lion gets 7 kilojoules. Oh, let's do this on a different piece of paper, okay? So we've got grass, then impala, leopard, and then lion. Okay, so 7 kilojoules are transferred here. Okay, now, in order for that 7 kilojoules to be transferred from the leopard to the leopard must have taken in 10 times that. So it must have taken in 70 kilojoules. Remember, because the amount of energy that's transferred here is 10% of the amount of energy that's transferred here. All right. The other 63 kilojoules is lost to the surroundings. You know, by running around, keeping yourself warm, that kind of thing. Now, if the leopard got 70 kilojoules from the impala must have taken in 700 kilojoules of energy. So, the impala is going to get 700 kilojoules of energy from the grass. But remember, the impala is only getting 10% of the energy that's in that grass. So in the grass, we must have 7,000 kilojoules. Okay? So if we look at it the other way, the grass has got 7,000 kilojoules of energy, 10% goes to the impala. Okay, and 10% equals 700. And of that 700, 10% goes to the leopard. And that 10% is 70. And of that 70, 10% goes to the lion. And 10% is 7 kilojoules. So this is your answer here, 7,000 kilojoules. All right, so some of you got that, a few of you not quite. All right, but excellent. Okay, so now carry on with the next video.